Okay, if you're a developer, you know this pain. You jump into a new codebase, pull up the docs, and you can just tell nobody's touched them in forever. It's one of the biggest headaches in software, right? Well, Google just dropped a new tool called Wiki, and it's designed to make that whole problem just go away. So, how does it actually work? And is this really the fix we've all been hoping for? Let's get into it.
All right, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about this whole documentation dilemma that pretty much every dev team deals with. Then we'll dive into Google's solution. We'll look at the 3 key ideas that make it tick, see how it handles a real-world project, and finally talk about why this thing could be a massive deal, especially for big companies.
So, let's kick things off with the problem itself. Why is documentation such a constant headache?
Yeah, this quote right here, it just nails it. Reading code is slow and expensive. And this isn't just a minor annoyance, you know? It's a huge waste of time and money. Think about all the hours teams burn just trying to figure out some old module or understand what a piece of code was even supposed to do in the first place.
So what does this look like day to day? Well, it's those markdown files that are completely out of date. It's those architecture diagrams that are, let's be honest, basically science fiction at this point. And here's the real kicker. The documentation actually becomes a problem because it doesn't change when the code does. It just creates more confusion and wastes more time.
Okay, so that's the problem. What's Google's answer? Well, they're calling it CodeWiki.
The whole idea here is pretty simple but powerful. Stop treating docs like something you write once and then abandon. The goal is to make documentation a living, breathing thing that's always a perfect reflection of the actual code.
So, what is it really? CodeWiki is basically an AI that scans your entire codebase and automatically generates the documentation for you. And we're not just talking about some text files. We're talking full-blown explanations, architecture diagrams, class diagrams, all of it. And the key part is it's always, and I mean literally always, up to date.
Okay, so how in the world does it actually do that? Well, the magic behind CodeWiki really comes down to 3 main ideas. Let's get into them. You've got automated and up-to-date, intelligent and context-aware, and finally, integrated and actionable. These 3 things are what make it all work. So let's take a look at each one.
First up, automated. This is the bedrock of the whole system. Anytime the code changes, any push, any merge, CodeWiki rescans everything and regenerates the docs. That means the words you're reading, the diagrams you're looking at, they are a perfect mirror of the code as it exists right now. The docs simply cannot lie.
Number 2, intelligent. And this is where it gets really, really cool. That wiki it generates, it becomes the brain for a Gemini chatbot. So when you ask it a question, you're not just chatting with some generic AI. You're talking to an expert on your codebase. It's like the repository itself is answering you. It has all the context.
And third, integrated. This is what ties it all together. Everywhere in the documentation, everything is hyperlinked. It'll take you straight to the exact file, the specific function, or the class it's talking about. So reading the docs and digging into the code becomes this one seamless, smooth experience.
All right, so that's the theory. But what does this actually look like when you use it? Let's check out a real example. So for their demo, Google used shadcn.ui, which is a super popular open source library that a ton of developers use. CodeWiki just ate the entire repository and spit out this incredibly clean, organized set of docs and diagrams for the whole thing. It just makes it so easy to understand.
So, now for the real test, that chatbot we talked about. You could ask it a super common question, something any developer would want to know, like, hey, how does the button component work?
And the answer you get back is, honestly, it's amazing. It doesn't just give you some generic summary. No, it breaks down the actual code with links. It gives you code snippets for all the different types of buttons. It even tells you how to use it with icons or, and this is a big one, how to properly embed a Next.js link inside it. This is stuff you can actually use right away.
But wait, it gets even crazier. You can ask CodeWiki to generate files for other AI tools, like GitHub Copilot. You can literally say, hey, give me a summary of this project's architecture and coding style, and it will generate a file that you can give to Copilot. And what does that mean? It means Copilot will start writing way better, more consistent code, because it actually understands the rules of your specific project.
Look, this is all super cool for open source stuff, for sure. But where this technology really goes from nice to have to an absolute game changer is inside big companies.
And here's why. For a public project, bad docs are annoying, right? But for a huge internal legacy system at a big company, It's a critical business-stopping problem, especially when the developers who wrote it left years ago. For those teams, a tool like this isn't just helpful, it's a lifesaver. It really is a game changer.
And of course, Google gets this. They're already building a command line tool for it. And this is the part that every enterprise is going to care about. It will let you run CodeWiki completely locally, on your own machines, on your private code. You get all the benefits and none of your proprietary code ever leaves your network. That is huge.
Unsurprisingly, the demand for this is already massive. Google has a waitlist open for this enterprise version, and you can bet that as soon as this is available, it's going to become a standard part of the toolkit for a lot of dev teams.
So when you step back, what this really is, it's a totally different way of thinking about documentation. It's not a chore anymore. It's an automated, intelligent system that works for you. Which brings us back to our big question. Could this actually be the end of outdated documentation as we know it? I mean, who knows for sure, but it feels like a massive leap in the right direction.